Hi, Jason Spangler here, the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing. This is a guy from Michigan that I talked to a couple of years ago, but he just wasn't ready to do anything with his scouting memorabilia. And then recently he reached back out to me, and for whatever reason, he was very motivated to make something happen. So what we decided to do was for him to mail me a box, and that would be on preview. And what this means, it sometimes happens where people decide, I know I want to sell this stuff to you. You seem like a fair enough guy. You'll evaluate the box and tell me what you think it's worth. And so that's what he did. I've got to open up this box and then make him a fair offer to purchase it. So let's dive in and see what he's got. Okay, so we got here a bunch of event patches. Some of them are nice, pretty old actually. This is kind of cool. 1960 National Scout Jamboree, a Troop 7 patch from Chicago. So that's pretty cool. You get it zeroed down to things like that. Golden Anniversary 1960. So definitely some vintage stuff here. I'll have to go through and kind of sort these out. I mean, some of them are pretty simple, like a Weeblos weekend. But then some of them are like, cut edge patches, Pine Tree Council. That's up in Michigan as well. And then here's an NFL patch, Ford Park. No, Ford PP&K participant. I don't know what that is, but it does have the NFL logo on the top. So I have to research that one, see if I can figure it out. Now, I love getting old camp patches. This is a 1963 camp patch from Camp Madron, and that's just a cool looking design if you ask me. Then some old stuff, 1960 Tennessee Valley Council Scout Exposition. So again, just a bunch of like event patches, which with these, the real trick is you have to get them home. Most people are not going to have any interest in event patches outside of their home council or state. But if you can kind of get them back home, whether it be Pennsylvania here or maybe some in Michigan or other parts of the Midwest, then you might be able to find some interest. I think that camp patches are really cool to collect. I've been on summer camp staff for 17 years. I had two different camps, really more than two different camps, but two camps that I've spent a lot of time at. And so I'm pretty passionate about collecting the scouting camps that I am affiliated with. That I can say I've spent a bunch of nights there. If you kind of see get my drift. All right, another bag of stuff here. Here's some cool pieces that I don't see very often. These OA, I think these might have been made by Torchy, or I'm not sure who made these, but these were kind of like a national generic OA neckerchief slide that I've seen in lots of collections. They're not scarce or anything. I've seen them go around. This kind of came out too. This is a cool little handmade vigil arrow ribbon, and it's beaded. I think maybe you can tell that on the video, which is kind of cool. Got a little card with his name on it. See what else we've got here. Some stuff from that area. And then there's a couple of older flaps. I'll have to research these and see what these are. We Boy Scout collectors, we go down rabbit holes and we have little reference books and stuff where we can tell, which one was the first one and the second one and the third one. So this is maybe stuff that either didn't fit into his binder or just ones that he had put to the side. And I say that because some of these are kind of odd shaped. Like that one's actually kind of a fat patch, and this one from Potawatomi 63 is kind of a tall one as well. This one from Oklahoma. So those don't really fit in those album pages. So these might have been some that he didn't quite have room for. Then he's got a few more from Lodge 89, which this is the lodge. Once his lodge merged with another lodge, it became this guy here. And then this is kind of a cool, this is like a pie-shaped patch, so that this would be designed to go on the back of a neckerchief, and you can tell obviously that's why it's got that little hook there. But Braves of Decorah Lodge 381, that's a cool piece. And then a few more here. Here's one from down south, Pithlaco. This is in Georgia. And I think this is again from one of those, 1993. So that's where I'm seeing a lot of the bulk of this collection is from that era and time period. And then here's a classic for you. This one's been worn on a jacket. I might have 50 of these, and maybe 20 of them are sewn like this, where people wore these on the back of jackets. This was such a classic design for guys in the Order of the Arrow. And then another one here. This was kind of the next generation of OA. It'd be a little hard to see that in the light, but OA collectors. We call this the MGM logo, and this is the logo that I had in the 80s. But it goes back into the 70s when this was created. But this sort of Chief's head logo was kind of an updated version of this guy here. So a couple of other cool pieces. Another OA belt buckle. This is one I remember in 1986 when I got an OA. We had that in our lodge store, so that was like a national issue. And then this is kind of funny. I'll show you this to kind of close things out. This says OA Ghost on it. So one of the funny little things we have, I'll try to, yeah, so you can see the light. One of the weird things we have in our hobby is that people have made spoof patches over the years. And especially during the 90s and into the 2000s, this was a thing at every national event. There'd be guys who would go off to mail off to China or Taiwan or somewhere and get a patch made that they could have to trade. And so this one is super generic, OA Ghost. But I can tell you that I do not recognize this one. I don't have it in my collection, and I do actually have a collection of these spoof patches because I think some of them are kind of hilarious. And so I will add that to my spoof patch collection. But anyways, that's what I have here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sort these out a little bit better, kind of make some stacks up, count how many away flaps and that sort of thing. And then I'll just come up with some numbers and send him an offer to purchase all this. And if he's happy with it, we're good to go. I'll send him a check or electronic payment, however he needs that. And then hopefully I'll get another box from him soon, and I'll be able to go through that box as well and perhaps share it here in a new unboxing. So Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper, this is what I do. I buy scouting memorabilia collections from scouters or families who have a box of stuff that they no longer need or no one in the family is interested. If that sounds like you and you move this box around, from move to move, from years to years, it's lived in a closet or a basement or maybe somewhere in the attic, please reach out to me. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. There you can find my contact information and learn more about what I do in the hobby. Thanks very much for watching.